Welcome to Up Until Now, Your Next Chapter with Zelda. I have a really great guest with me today. I'm so excited. I met her probably back in 2009. It's been a journey. So she is an expert at brand development and launching products for Fortune 500 companies. She is now a consultant. When I met her, she was working for a company called Safariland Group, and she's done brand launches for Natural Life, for Great American Cookie Company, the famous Mrs. Fields, and the Honey Baked Ham Company, Turner Broadcasting, lots and lots of expertise back there. And she is now working with companies, as I said, that are ready to launch or brand or scale their businesses to the next level, way up there. So, yay. I can also say that I know that what I wanted to talk to Katherine today about is scaling a business and how you go about that and the strategies involved. So, my background with Katherine is I met her when she started a company called Katherine Way Clothing, and it's a resort style clothing for women, dresses and separates. And you know her outfits when you see them. That's branding. You know them. You know them. They've got that look, and they are awesome. And they're in the stores in the Caribbean, in the United States, in Canada, across the globe. 350 boutiques, I understand, and 175 golf resort clubs. So that's pretty impressive in itself. I know that you sold the company in 2022, and now you're doing design and consulting for the small to mid-sized companies. So, Katherine, impressive background. I'm so glad
Oh,
you're
thank
here.
you, honey. It's good to see you, Zelda.
It's
It's
good
been
to
a
see.
while.
It has been a while. I first wrote about you in this book that I created back in 2009, and I refreshed my mind about it today. And I went, oh my God, because in the book back in 2009, you were talking about adapting to change
Mhm.
and how to adapt accordingly. That if you don't change, you're basically getting lost behind. And how
Mhm.
appropriate is that for in today's world? Because the
Uh,
world is changing
So much every
so
day is
much.
changing. And yeah, and I think you need to dust off that book and put it back out because there's a lot of good stuff in there about change and it's very relative, I guess, for today's day, of things of changing. So yeah.
It is. So when I did dust it this morning, I said, "Let me see you." You were on page 51, and it was like, "Oh my gosh, look at her! This is so relevant." It's like, yeah. So
It's over
let's.
there. It's over there on that bookshelf somewhere over there. I have to dig it back out and read
That's
what I
right. You have to reread what you wrote. That's right. I keep it on my shelf.
yeah.
So I want to jump right in with you. You start with an idea. So what inspired you to start a clothing company?
Well, Zelda, it really came down to I couldn't find something to wear for my curvy body. And let me just back up. Brad has always played golf in the moisture wicking shirts, and he would come off the golf course looking so good. Well, women back then, this was, 14 years ago, the only thing they offered women was cotton, products to play golf in. And we would come off the golf course and Brad would look great. He could go to the clubhouse. I had to go home and take a shower and get looking good. Well, we were on vacation one time and we were off in the Keys, actually, I think St. Kitts or someplace down there. And we were about to leave for the next day, but Brad decided he wanted to go out to dinner one more night. And I said, well, I'm going to go find a cute little dress to wear for dinner tonight because I hadn't worn everything. I was ready to burn all my clothes in my suitcase. And and so I went out and started looking for dresses for, a woman of my age and my curviness. And I couldn't find anything. Everything was too tight across the bodice or too tight across the hips or sleeveless. And it just didn't look good or feel good on my body. And I walked back in the office, back in the condo and looked at Brad and said, put my hands on my hips and said, I, I could make better dresses than what I can find out there. Of course, I'm the emotional one and Brad is the calm one in our family. And he looks up at me and said, well, why don't you? I said, well, why don't I? well, I can't do that. And he said, how many brands have you launched for Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies? What have you done in your career? Think about all the products that you've launched over the years. And I said, well, I could do it for myself. So it really made me start thinking about what I could do. And I started gathering dresses that I felt like look good and feel good on women of my size and of my age. And literally came out with 6 dresses. Had all my girlfriends come over my house and fed them one and had them all try them on after I had them
The
made.
dresses that you already had or
That
dresses
I
you
had
were
already
having?
that I already made. I actually found a dressmaker and made some dresses, and this was
Okay, so you had this vision while you
yeah.
were on vacation.
Mhm.
And did you know how to sew? Did you know how to design a dress?
Yeah, actually, I knew how to sew. My mom taught me how to sew, and of
Okay.
course, way back when they gave you, home ec and classes,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
didn't know how to sew. And I was smart enough to be able to take a bodice of the one dress and a skirt of another, and be able to retrofit it to make it work for a dress. And
Okay.
so I actually found an amazing Italian pattern maker down in Miami, and he also understood the vision of what I wanted to do. I wanted a dress that would look good and feel good so that any women who had to care for their families and get them all ready, but they never give time for themselves, they could just throw on a dress and go. And that's what it was. And actually researched the fabric and finally found a moisture wicking fabric that we could print bright colors on and 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 be moisture wicking so it would be cool and comfortable, especially in the Florida weather. Because, we live in Florida and it's hot
So,
here.
so Catherine, you come
Mhm.
home, you go, okay, I'm going to make this happen. How do you bring that vision to life? I mean, you have to have, okay, first I have to do this, that, and the other. So, and when you were working with the Fortune 500 companies, I mean, they already had something. They weren't from scratch. You were starting from square zero.
Well, this is what I did. And this is like your typical strategic planning that any company or any new product should do. And that was one thing that I had done in Safariland and Armor Holdings and all those companies is really come up with a vision and what the unique selling proposition was going to be for that product. And then really analyze how I needed to be able to do it. Look at was our market out there? Was there an audience out there that was looking for that product? Was there what financial situation we needed to be able to put against it? Like how much is it going to cost? And is there a margin? And what's the margin? And then is someone going to pay for that dress? Because they were all made
Yes.
in the USA.
So
And so
when you mentioned finances, it made me think, did you have to bootstrap this business? Did you seek investors?
mhm.
What kind of finances did you have? And then, what kind of financial lessons did you learn? I'm sure there were a few missteps along the way.
Oh,
What
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So from the different parts of analyzing of the different structures of launching a new product or brand for a company, financial was extremely important. And Brad and I literally sat down and said we felt like once we did our analysis, our grandma research, we realized that there was a really need for this in the marketplace and felt like that this was a good investment. So we took some investments of our own and applied it toward the company.
Okay.
And and absolutely, it first of all, if you ever want to make $1 million in the dress business, you need to start with $2 million. So it's just a very very expensive, and it's a big big gamble because you work 6 months in advance of you ever selling a dress, and then 3 to 4 months after that, you finally get paid by
And
boutiques and
that's
golf.
so appropriate for so many businesses. I'm starting a course, but I wrote it so long ago, it still hasn't had a full launch. So I think that's appropriate for pretty much all businesses. You have to put in some of your own money to start
Mhm.
and let it grow from there.
Mhm.
So what were some of the biggest obstacles that you had in growing and scaling your company?
Oh, one of them was finding the right kind of fabric that you wanted, and then finding. I wanted to keep it made in USA, mainly because I wanted to be able to control it better, and then quality control, as well as not have to ship from overseas because you just never know. So with that, keeping it in the US, finding uh, manufacturing plants of dresses of products is just very difficult. And I started off in LA and then eventually moved it to Miami, found a plant in Miami, then 2 plants in Miami, and then 3 plants in Miami, and then 1 plant in New York City, Manhattan, that made our dresses and was able to deliver them on time. And that's another thing is delivering on time. Boutiques and golf courses, they order dresses, say, for February 1st. Well, they better be there March 25th, that whole process. So it was a real eye opening for me that I had to learn how to really figure out the financial situation, because you pay for probably 50% up front and then 50% upon
Wow.
delivery, as well as making sure your margin was correct, making sure you had the right employees, and, and making sure you can deliver on time, and having a fully functional warehouse, manufacturing warehouse that you could, pick, package, ship, and order and ship correctly. And then also QA, I mean, quality control, and making sure that it was perfect. So you making sure that the product that you're delivering is worth a $200 dress.
So how did you
Mhm.
scale this? And I know there was strategy involved. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm starting maybe as a guerrilla marketer or on a shoestring budget, and you have to take baby steps from startup to the multi-million-dollar company. So how does one scale from small to medium, medium to large? What are some of the strategies they should consider if they're looking to scale their business, whatever the business
Are
is?
you talking from a marketing, or are you talking about the actual product? I think from I think I'll answer that. I like from if you want to grow and scale your business, I feel like you need to test and know your customer better, test and track, and be able to see how your sales are working. And here's a great example of how we knew our product was working. We had a couple of clubs buy our product, and there was one particular dress called the Key West dress that they continued to buy. And we couldn't figure out what they were doing with them. I mean, she was buying tons, like 50 in a month. And I'm like, what are you doing with these dresses? And she said, the ladies are playing golf in them. Well, that was unheard of back then. I didn't
Yeah.
expect golf to be a part of our marketplace. And so I went to see her. I actually talked to some of the ladies that were wearing the dresses, and they were like, they're cool in Florida. They're cool. They're comfortable. We're putting our cute little spandex shorts underneath it and color it done, make some more. And I started analyzing what would that be, and ended up testing it out at the PGA show, went to the PGA show, and it was a home run. And so we actually, talking about, scaling a business, we actually had to test and track and analyze what we were doing, and was it going to be a viable option. I have one employee that worked for me who did think that it was even worth looking at, where I had other employees that was like, yeah, let's go for it.
Isn't
And
that funny how that happens? It's like I always tell people think bigger, and sometimes you can only think this big, but you hire somebody or you bring in the strategist who thinks this big, and boom, it's kind of like what you just did. It's like you weren't really thinking, let's go on to the golf courses, but look, that's where the market
look
was.
what it. Yeah.
Think bigger.
This thing, it was before really women's dresses were in the golf industry. And we came to the PGA with a new unique product, and we sold like crazy. And overnight success of a tournament, we literally doubled, tripled our business in overnight. And it was crazy. And then we
So the
were
whole
fortunate,
mindset thing changes at that point.
it completely changed. Then we were fortunate enough that we had a woman who is a 17-time LPGA winner, also is a CBS announcer, and she walks the course for all the men tournaments on CBS. Dottie Pepper. Dottie Pepper started wearing some of our dress tops, and we were like, "How did Dottie?" People were like sending us,
I
reels
want
and
one. I
videos, and
want one.
and I go, "How in the world was Dottie wearing our stuff?" And so she she ordered some product from us, and we finally figured out that it was her. And I wrote her a love note and stuck it in a box, sent her a couple extra tops,
Oh,
and then
that
about
sealed the
month,
deal.
yeah, a month or two later, I get a call from CBS Sports saying, "Hey, Catherine, I don't know if you know who I am." We thought it was a great call and said, "But a woman named Dottie Pepper wants to wear your products on TV." And we're like, "Oh, holy cheesy crackers! This is incredible." So that has started a relationship that's probably been 7 or 8 years now that we've had um, Dottie Pepper wearing our product on TV. She's not shown that much because she's really more on, on air TV, but it's lovely to have. And it's lovely to have your logo, in front of millions and millions of
She's an
people
influencer.
every Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And even on, it's on TV for some of the major tournaments. So she's been a true friend and a true supporter. And
So let me ask you this: when you have a clothing line, you have now an influencer, and there are many companies out there. I mean, there's a million clothing items out there, that you're competing with. How
mhm,
does a business that's extremely, if a customer were to come to you or a client and they say, look, this is the whatever business they're in, and it's high, I'm a realtor. Everybody knows at least 10 realtors, right? So there's the insurance salesman there. They know, how would you tell them to be different from everyone else and build a strong identity brand?
mm, okay. I really truly believe it's about the unique selling proposition. What's made you difference? What made us difference was we accented the good parts of a woman's body and covered up all nature's imperfections. I feel like every brand out there needs to figure out what makes them different and not sell against their competitors. That is one thing we would never do. We would never, we would, if someone was a competitor that would, they said, well, what about you and somebody else? Compare yourself. And it's like, well, they make a wonderful brand, but we're a little bit longer, dressed long, or maybe we're a little bit more forgiving. And we would always go back to our unique selling proposition and what made us different from that customer. Maybe it's just our great customer service or that we're good Southern girls that are going to take good care of you.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is, I mean, I would give my team a carte blanche if they felt like that customer was not happy. They were able to do whatever they needed to do to make them happy,
I
and that's
compared
what I do
Yeah,
now.
I
Is
compare that to Chewy, the company Chewy, with the dogs. Their product is just it's this they're just selling whatever you can get in the pet stores and all that, but their customer service is woo,
Yes,
very powerful. So
listen, they send flowers to people who have lost their
yes, they
favorite
do,
pet.
along with the love letters. Love letters are good.
It's the sweetest thing ever, and that's a great to me, I'm a lifelong believer in Chewy's and I will always order from them on
Mhm.
products like that. So, yeah, I'm right there
So
with you.
anybody from Chewy's out there, we're promoting you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what brought you from where you were at and you thought, wow, what factors led you to decide, I think it's time for us to sell our company?
Well, we got an opportunity. I by after during the middle of COVID, I ended up acquiring a partner in the
Okay.
company, and he was amazing. But he really wanted to get he. We had no idea that COVID was going to happen, and he was in for the short term and didn't really want to hang for the long term. And he and I both sat down and said, "I think it's time that we need to sell." And we were able to find someone who knew the brand well, could care for the brand, and be able to take it to that next level. I felt like I could only take it to a certain level, and I wanted it to take to the next level. Also, my health was not good at that time, and I felt like I needed to really take good care of myself instead of a brand because that's like a baby. And so we decided that this was a great opportunity. We got a nice offer and we decided to take it. And the company has done a really good job. The woman that bought the company and her team, have done a good job of taking it to that next level. So really proud of them. They're really focusing in on um, pickleball as well.
Oh,
We
yeah.
dipped our toe in it when I was running the company, and then when she took over, she really dipped deeply into the pickleball side of the business and has done extremely well with it. And proud that she's continuing to carry on the legacy of the brand and carrying on to the next
That's
level.
wonderful. Sometimes you
Yeah.
just don't know you're not ready to sell. And then all of a sudden the opportunity comes. I had this conversation with a woman yesterday, actually. She owns some real estate, some commercial properties, and she was approached to sell it. And this is a rental income that she has, and it's been phenomenal for her family. And
Mhm.
she was approached to sell it. And she goes, I don't know if I'm ready to sell this. It's a good money maker. So I said, well, it depends on how much money they're offering you, as opposed to how much you're getting in rental and upkeep and all that. So you just never know when those opportunities are going to come, and
You
then you
never
have to
know.
just weigh pros and cons.
And I was off, I was approached several times in my younger years, right? Especially when we hit the golf industry.
I
And
bet.
perhaps I should have sold then. I may have made more money, but I wasn't really ready for it. And also, I thought that once I sold the company, I would be ready to retire. Well, that's not the case. I
Yeah.
15 minutes of looking around the house, I'm like, going, I'm going to drive myself
I
crazy.
think they
There's only
call
so
that
much
a
I work.
retirement fail. So
I am, I am definitely a retirement fail,
I
and
say I could never
so
retire. So let me ask you then, you sell the company, and so what are you doing now, and what excites you the most about this phase of your new career?
okay. Right now, I started started kind of a consulting company called Katherine Way Consulting and Design, and what I do is I really help strategically plan and help guide new and upcoming companies, small to medium size, probably like about from 0 to 50 million, really grow to that next level or extend. They may have a good product, but they don't know where to go from here or how to get it into a marketplace or how to take it to the next level. I have a couple of customers that call me their chief strategy officer. I have a couple of companies that I'm their chief marketing officer. But it's a lot of fun that these companies, these entrepreneurs, they have such great ideas and they have no one to bounce these ideas off of. And this is, you can only talk to your family so much and then they start doing the eye roll. And so I'm a great person for them to like say, okay, Catherine, here's our big vision and make sure that I kind of kind of figure out how to make sure that they are taking it to the right level and then caution them on things that maybe I've screwed up on with my own company, how to take it to the next level. And making sure they don't miss some certain steps or take some steps that could be dangerous for a company that is a fast moving company or fast growing company. So I feel like I use my like this is my legacy. This is me giving back on to companies that really need to take it to the next level. And there's some that are bigger than that have like called to ask me to maybe create a new channel of business for them. Uh, they see the vision and how can they take another channel of business, whether it's going into retail environments or maybe taking a product that they're using in their restaurants and creating it and growing it, or a whole nother channel of business like a franchising type of business. So I am fortunate enough that I'm flexible enough. I can work with these organizations and take it to the next level. And it's so fun because it's something different for
Yeah.
everybody. And it's so it keeps me very um, fresh and revived and on task and learn new things. So it's a lot of fun.
So what if
Mhm.
you were looking back on your business career, is there some advice that you would give yourself when you were just starting that you wish you had known, and this advice that you could pass on to our audience?
I think a lot of that would be um, really write out your business plan and structure it, and then go seek advice from someone who's been in business Uh, uh, just to get some good sounding soundboard, off of it. I was fortunate enough when I wrote my business plan, I took it to a really good friend of mine named Rodney McLaughlin, who is Legacy Trust Wealth Management, and ran it. But I gave him the whole presentation. I mean, the whole stood up, the whole PowerPoint,
The whole
everything.
nine
He had
yards.
the whole 9 yards, and he gave me such great input on some things that I may have brushed over where I needed to noodle back down and really work out those. And I'm so glad I did it. And from a financial point of view, it really saved me on a lot of those things, making mistakes. If it's I was not in the wholesale manufacturing business. I was not in the fashion industry, if you say everything like that. I was coming out of building, working for retail, the director of retail of Safariland. I was doing body armor and holsters, which is so
Totally
different
different.
than the fashion industry. So so there's some things there. Getting research, like I went to take some classes in fashion industry to learn. These classes gave me from a financial point of view, but also a business point of view and hiring point of view, finding vendors, finding fabrics, sourcing products. So it really gave me that real, rounded novice of what I needed to know before I really stroked the first check to make the first dress. So, I probably started, I know it was February of 2012. My first dress that I presented to a client was January of 2013, at a fashion
Oh,
show.
I
So it took
believe
a
it.
year,
Year.
whole year to be able to create it, figure it out and really have it worked out. One of the things that one of the financials Rodney said and others was like, watch your margin, make sure that you're good, your margins are not so low that you're going to be giving away the dresses by the end of, when you sell them.
So,
And he was right. And
so
then also being not scared of the industry changing, back to change.
Mhm.
What when we started online was happening, but it really cranked up right in the middle of it and going online and selling. So we had our wholesale
Yeah.
retail business, which was our boutiques and golf courses. We had our online business, and then we had a boutique out at Jacksonville Beach to get, and that was mainly for research. Being able to understand what the
That's
consumer
wanted.
wanted,
Mhm.
and so being able to juggle different channels of businesses was extremely important, but also using all that information to help continue to build and be a better
So
brand.
important. Yeah, so important. So if someone is listening and they want to hire a strategist, whether you or someone else,
Mhm.
what advice or what top three questions should they ask this person to make sure that it's a good fit?
First of all, I think it's a personality thing. I would suggest first thing is you make an appointment with them, whether it's Zoom or coffee or something. Kind of have a little bit of an idea of what you want to do and structure it, but then also see if that person's going to listen to you. I mean, I think that's super important because you don't want to hire somebody that's not going to listen to you. I mean, to hear what you want to do and what your vision, and make sure that they can embrace your vision and what you want to do. And I think that's extremely important. Second of all, I would think is um, how easy are they to get in touch with, and how are they willing to work with you? Um, there's times when I've had some small to medium companies where they don't have a big budget and they can't pay big rates. And I've negotiated my rate lower just because I want to see them succeed. So look at someone who's going to have that ability to be able to, I'll be a little spontaneous and be able to adjust and work with you. If you can find, there's people out there to find and to help you on that. And then thirdly, make sure that this person is going to be your cheerleader. I I got a call yesterday from one of my clients who got a huge win, and I'm jumping up and down in the yard because I'm so happy for them. So I just want to make sure that you're a cheerleader for this customer because you're going to see them go through some bumpy roads all the way to success. And I
Yeah.
feel like your chief strategy officer needs to be right there with you and be available when you can, when you have questions or doubts or comments or need some support.
Those are
So
some
that's my thoughts.
excellent advice. Excellent advice. Excellent, excellent. I love it, love it, love it. So, Catherine, when somebody wants to reach you, how can they contact you?
The best way would be my email address, which is Katherine Way80 at gmail.com, or just pick up the phone and call me. My number is 904-254-4522. But email's better. That way you can kind of tell me a little bit about yourself and your story. But I'm always around and I'm always available. So feel free to give me a shout.
And we'll put that in our show notes. So if you run through this uh, audio or the video of this podcast, we'll put it in the show notes for you so you can reach Catherine.
I've been too I've been too busy to build a website and I've been too busy to
Okay.
start a new email address so for business. So, feel free to use that one.
Catherine, it's been wonderful talking to you again after all these years. In fact, I was cleaning a closet the other day and I came across one of your old business cards. It's pink
Oh
and
gosh.
pink on
Yeah.
it. I go, where did this come from? So this call was meant to be.
Meant to be.
All
Hey,
these,
so congratulations on this opportunity that you're going through now and take that book, dust it off, put it back on the internet. Let's see if we can get that thing sold again. And just good luck to you. And thank you for the opportunity to talk
and to
with
you
you.
as well, Catherine. Thank you so much.
All right.
We'll see you next time.